We finally almost reached the implementation of Warzone for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and you truly can be excited about it.
What is the agenda of this little powwow?
Good question, Gen S. When it comes to the integration of Warzone, there are several things you need to know prior to get your boots on the ground for the first time in Urzikstan. Before I'll let you know what you have to be aware of when thinking about your loadout, especially about your weapons and perks, let's first have a look at the recent announcements about the release of Warzone.
Looking good, boys.
The map will be about 20% smaller than Al Mazrah in Warzone 2 and features a player count of 100 players. Keeping in mind that in addition to the smaller map, the circle is supposed to move much quicker, which means that with Gulag tokens and flares, it doesn't necessarily have to feel just like 100 players. So we can be very curious about how the pace will play out in the end. A Raven software stated that each match will take 20 minutes on average, and that they keep their focus on the metrics throughout the season so that they can make adjustments to player count if necessary. But as of it is right now, the metrics obviously tell them that the balance of the map size and player count is just right for an optimized engagement feeling of the players. Since they are the only one that have insights in those numbers, I trust that they made the perfectly right decision. And as long as they keep the door open to adjustments, everything is fine. Oh, and by the way, huge credits to the effort that is put into communication with the community. Not only do the devs tell what they do, but more importantly, they let us know why they're doing it. And by the looks of it, they do not only listen to the community, but they really try to integrate what is demanded. With all that being said, let's have a quick look at some supposedly good loadouts. The most important thing to know is that you get perks by default. While you had to choose an improved slide distance and full ADS while sliding, as well as increased stance transition speed in Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, this is now a default setting for your operator. And not only that, you'll get reloading while running, an increased weapon swap speed, increased climbing and manhandling speed, and most importantly, you are allowed to pick 2 weapons by default. Considering all that, you might have to overthink what you want to pick for your first jump into Warzone combat area. I will not tell you which build or loadout you'll have to use, since this is all based on personal preferences, and if you play on keyboard and mouse or controller. But I'll give you my personal recommendation in a second. Besides all the well-known loadouts like the MCW, which is probably the best all-rounder that suits any situations, and if you ask me, assumingly the meta gun in Season 1. The Bash B, which I am not a huge fan of because it has a strange horizontal recoil pattern, which assumingly will get you off target in longer distance fights. Or the MTZ, which I consider more of a sniper support assault rifle due to its high fire rate, but more difficult to control recoil. The COD AMR sniper, as probably the only sniper that has a one-shot kill potential and is worth taking if you enjoy sniping. And as your backup weapons for close quarter engagements, the Rival 9 or the Wasp Swarm, which is my go-to secondary due to its outstandingly good mobility. There is maybe one weapon you might want to know about, which is my personal favorite. The Holger 26. I went out to Ground War and tested all the guns I talked about. Why Ground War? Well, it has to me the most comparable gunfights to Warzone when it comes to distances. Yes, enemy players don't have any plates, and the perks are still different, but to test how weapon handling feels, that's the best mode to me. Since I am a mouse and keyboard player, I struggle a lot with horizontal recoil, which to a certain extent is compensated by aim assist on controller. Not a ton, but a bit. So I tried to fit that into my demands of high bullet velocity and fast rate of fire. And surprisingly, the Holger 26 did suit all of that. It just shines in that perspective even compared to the most likely meta gun, the MCW. It has a bullet velocity over 900 meters per second, which the MCW has too. It has a fire rate over 700 and comes almost close to the fire rate of the MCW. And the recoil pattern to me is much better in terms of horizontal recoil, which is slightly less than even with the MCW. And compared to all the other LMGs, it has a better mobility and handling. And even if you compare handling and mobility of the MCW to the Holger 26, then it is just slightly better. And this is the loadout I'd run. I'd take the Holger 26 as my primary, the Wasp Swarm as my secondary, and the infantry vest as a vest of my choice. I'd take the assault gloves, the covered sneakers, and finally the ghost perk. If you don't play sniper, I wouldn't recommend taking marksman gloves, since I made some testing in ground war and realized that there isn't a huge benefit in terms of sway, but probably in terms of flinch. So if you like sniping and you take a sniper rifle, this is probably worth taking into consideration. Will this be the best gun in the game? No, I don't think so. And I still see myself using the MCW. But for the sake of variety, I'll definitely give that a shot to keep things fresh. If you enjoyed this content, leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.